I got something to say. Woohoo! Second one this week. I told you. Even though it was only one day of International Women's Day, the whole month, I was going to get two in. And boy, oh boy, are you in for a treat. So for the first time ever, we are going to have somebody who might be doing something special in their kitchen. Yay! We all love that, right? Cooking, drinking, beverages. Allison and I met at an event. Yeah. And I don't even like to cook, and I had so much fun. Kathleen Kelly, shout out to Kathleen Kelly's birthday party. It was a surprise. They had Allison Farcus there with her company, SAUTE and SOIRÉE, cooking with the ladies, and it was very interactive. And I thought, I just might do this. That's right. I just might do this when I'm not in the group. Now, I can't say that to be positive, but it might. Here's the deal. She took things that I felt were like overly complicated and broke it down and said, oh, this is only going to take a few seconds. Here, put the shrimp in there. Oh, I was bragging about you. Hi, Allison. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So we were talking about the first time we met, which I did love cooking with you. I can't say I have the same passion when I'm not around you, but when you're around, you make me want to cook and have fun. And you took the most complicated things and went, oh, just do this, and it worked out.
Great. You just sold everything that I do. I love it. Although I don't want it to come off as complicated, but I'm glad. That's what I want. I want people to just be part of it and say, oh, that was easy. Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah.
And that's delicious.
It was so much fun. All right. Before we get into that, let me just tell them about you, which I was. Allison Farcus is the founder of SAUTE and SOIRÉE, LLC, a unique business that offers in-person, which we were talking about, and virtual, which we didn't talk about. We've got to get into that later. Cooking experiences that are collaborative, yep. Creative, yep. Social, yep. Relaxed, yep. And fun. Allison has been bringing people together this way for most of her adult life, starting out in Miami Beach. Why'd you come here? Where she's from. She crafts experiences, allow people to connect over the universal language that is food. All right, so here's the deal. I know you're going to make stuff for us, but before we get into that, what made you move? I mean,
a career opportunity. Yeah. If I had a nickel for every time I heard that question. A career opportunity for my husband. So, yeah. And if you said to me 11 years ago, you're going to be living in New Jersey, and then you're going to be living outside of Philadelphia, I'd be like, I'm sorry, what part of the life of Allison does that take place?
Yeah.
But anyway, life is full of surprises and experiences that we may not anticipate, and we were all down for the. I'm going to call it a challenge, because it certainly is and was. But I'm really happy. Yeah, really happy here. Yeah.
Yeah. And you've met a lot of great people.
For sure. This is a perfect example of that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Allison.
Yes.
You really connect people all over the place. And I want to talk to them a little bit about that too.
Thank you.
Because not only do you do this, but you are part of another organization. And I know you do the marketing for them, but more importantly, you have that just natural ability to say, ooh, you should meet so-and-so. I want you to meet so-and-so. And wanting to really help people connect, which is so sincere. Also, you don't remember this, but it stays with me. When we had our first little coffee meeting.
I remember.
And Allison, I was telling her about, I was going to go to one of these big networking things, and I've never done this before. You switched my whole presentation and what I was going to open up with people.
And I was like, she's like, you directly said, yeah, I wouldn't say that if I were you. I was like, okay, I just met her. This is cool. But it was so spot on. And thank you for that. You know, it made me so much more relaxed going into, what is it, Jersey man, Philly man, where
Exactly.
like there's, yeah, so many hundreds of people, and you have your little name tag. First of all, they were all really friendly, but I knew exactly now what I was going to say, which was awesome. Yeah.
Good.
That
You know, it's,
separated me out from the pack, you know?
pardon me?
That separated me out from the pack.
Good, good. Well, you are unique, so you know you should feel separated from the pack, and you should, you know, just you should be loud and proud about who you are, and
Yeah.
and let people know. But you're great at that, and that's one of the reasons I admire you so much.
Well, thank you, Allison.
You're welcome.
But tell me this. So tell me a little bit. Are you in charge of marketing for Jersey Man, Philly Man? And how did you get involved in that? Or what are you doing?
Yes. So a year and a half after I moved to New Jersey, so we moved for a career opportunity for my husband, and I had not done like 25 years of something. You know, I'd worked for an upscale caterer before I left Miami. I was a financial advisor before that. I worked in a preschool, so I did this and that. So when I moved to New Jersey and my husband went to work for his job, my daughter went to school, and I'm like, now what? I didn't know anyone. I didn't know where to start. So after, you know, this little job and that little job, I had the great opportunity, it was really life-changing, to come across the Dunnick family, who own Jersey Man, Philly Man magazine, and Legacy Club, which is a private networking club that's under the umbrella of the magazine. They now have Miami Magazine and Boston Man, Miami Man Magazine, Boston Man, and they're wonderful people. And I started working for them in a sales capacity, helping to grow their network. And the sales team, you know, was small, and I formed beautiful family feeling relationship with the Dunnick family. And so I worked for them full time, you know, selling sponsorships, bringing members into the network, helping connect members with other members. And now I have my own business, but I'm loyal to them. I love them. I still have members in the network, and I'm just such a believer in what they do, and the uniqueness of their approach to networking, that you know, I continue to cheerlead for them and bring members into the fold.
That's what I love about you. Okay, so I got a couple questions here for you. When I sent out to my peeps, even before you came on, this is one question I got. Have you always loved cooking? And if you don't love cooking, do you think you could learn to love it?
Yes and yes. Yes, I've always loved cooking. You know, I didn't really do it in college, but came back from college, and it's the marriage of liking people in my home and that social setting and providing food for them. So in my 20s, I would throw parties, a dessert party, a cocktail party. I'd even send invitations, because my friends at the time were not really doing that. So, and we didn't have phones to look at Canva pictures of what it would be. So, and I've just always loved it. I'm a foodie. You know, if a restaurant has a paper menu, I ask if I could take it home with me. You know, sometimes it gets like olive oil on it. They don't want to give it to someone else. I keep menus for inspiration. I love to cook. I love to entertain. I love, you know, savory and sweet. And to the second question, I think you can learn to love it. And I'll give you an example. When I moved to New Jersey, we had this little patch of dirt in front of our house, and I had no green thumb. I didn't know about it. I was intimidated by it. I, you know, would see everyone planting, and I would be upset that I didn't know how to do that. And then it was September, and the mums were everywhere. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll buy mums like everyone else is buying mums. I planted the mums. Some of them died. So longer story, a little longer. Sorry. Moved to Pennsylvania, and I have a bigger area behind my house to plant. And I thought, okay, I'm a foodie. I like to cook. I can't not plant some herbs. Let me just give some herbs a try. Let me give some vegetables a try. So I did it, and then it grows on you. It's the creation process and then the harvesting process. So if you want to say that you're creating when you're slicing, dicing, mixing, chopping, and then The harvesting is the eating of it, the realization of everything. So gardening is the same thing, and you can develop a love for things that may intimidate you at first, or may scare you off at first. It's something you have no experience with. Once you get into it a little bit, you may realize, oh, this isn't too hard.
Yeah.
Oh, this is rewarding. Oh, look at my broccoli, you know? So I think someone can love to learn to cook as well.
This woman is saying she loved to cook when her kids were older. She always felt like she was in a rush just to put food on the table. But once they were, they'll call her Sally Bell, once they were off and in college, she learned to just relax and have fun with it. And I understand that versus trying to get 3 kids, food.
Food on the table. Got to get to, and she's working, you know, got to get the food on the table. It's a different process. This is why people meal prep. It's an entirely different process. So having more time allows you to enjoy it, you know, in a different way.
Wow. I want to know how and why you came up with the idea of SAUTE and SOIRÉE. But before we do that, why don't you show us what you're going to make today for us? And then we'll get back to that.
Okay. So when I have people at my house, I like to offer wine. And I also like to make an inspired drink, a cocktail, and it can turn into a mocktail. And I do have cocktail books, but really it's about experiencing a balance, taste of, you know, balance. That's why when you taste any food, it shouldn't be like, you know, you want it to have the balance of maybe salty or acidic or spicy or herbaceous. Balance is so important. So I think that there's easy ways to attain balance. And the way I do that is by adding a mixture of a few things. Oh, my daughter just came home from school. Say hi to everyone.
Hi, nice to meet you.
So I here have an example on my cutting board of things that most people may have in their pantry or their fridge that they can use to make a cocktail. You don't have to go to a book. It's just about putting those ingredients into a glass or a shaker and then finding the balance. Do I want it sweeter? I could add more of this. Is it too bland? I can make it tartar. So I'm going to sort of hold the phone over my cutting board. You're on a tripod, and go like this and see if you can see.
Oh my God! It just looks so pretty.
Okay. So I'm going to hold it like this, and I'm hopefully not move it, but I want to show you there's a variety of things here. So I can't point because I have to hold the tripod.
No, I got it.
I have basil. I have celery. Celery goes with gin really well, by the way. I have lemons, orange, and limes. I have honey. You could use maple syrup.
Yeah.
Even Smucker raspberry preserves. Okay, so if you ever have a drink in a restaurant and it has, let's say, a fruit. Let's say it has like rhubarb, which isn't really an easy thing to eat fresh. Usually they've made a syrup out of that ingredient. They've, you know, equal parts sugar, water, maybe they've chopped up the fruit a little bit and they're creating a syrup. They then strain it. And now you have this beautiful ruby colored simple syrup. So if you have a mixture, for me at least, of citrus, you can use like if you squeeze lemon, lime, and orange together, which I'm making on a virtual saute and soiree later, you have this beautiful citrus mixture that is not lemony, not too lemony tart. Please don't use my cord now. Not too lemony tart, and a little sweet from the orange, and it's just a really nice citrus mixture. Yeah. So you can do that. So I have here a mixture of gin. And I have added the orange, lemon, lime to that.
Gotcha.
Into that mixture, and this is going to sound a little funky. Here's something else. So in the store, in Trader Joe's or the grocery store, they have these immunity shots. And this has ginger and cayenne juice. Okay. It is strong, but there's no reason why this wouldn't be added to a cocktail to make a really yummy cocktail. So I'm going to add a little. So you've got ginger. Because there are cocktails that have ginger in it, right? Well, pardon me?
I said, yeah, I love that. I love ginger.
So I'm adding a little of that. I've got gin, the triple citrus juice, and then I've made a honey simple syrup. I took equal parts honey and water, and I just melted it. So now, because you can't really pour honey into a drink, it's so viscous. this is just a little bit of sweet, just a little. I'm gonna pour a little of that. Okay, well maybe that was a little more. Now, I can even take a little further without it being too much. So now I have citrus, the ginger, a little sweetness. There's a technique that it's called slapping or clapping, and it's a way to release the oils and the essence of an herb. So here's basil. If you do this, you kind of shock it, and it releases the oil from the basil, and then you can add that to your drink. And it's what you smell, what you taste is often what you smell. So I'm going to add that. So now I have a little herbaceousness in my drink. Now I'm going to shake it up.
Just slap it, Allison.
Slap it. Give it a slap. I'm going to shake it up. And then I'm just going to pour it into a glass. I already accidentally dropped basil leaf in there, so that was a good accident.
Okay.
It has a really pretty yellow lemony color. And that's just an example of a refreshing, light, somewhat low calorie, not too syrupy drink. So I'm gonna say cheers to you and to everyone who joined us today, and thank you. And I'm gonna give it a taste. You have to try it. This ginger, it's not like too strong. It's so good. And then another idea is if you have bubbles at home, whether it's seltzer or like a Prosecco or a Cava, you can top that off if you like that kind of effervescent vibe. But really, like you can if you have a grater, and you can make a cucumber juice and make a drink with fresh cucumbers. So you grate the cucumber, put it over a strainer with a paper towel, let the juice come out, and you don't want the seeds and stuff, and then mix that with a little lime juice, a little honey, and with gin or vodka, and you have another drink. So it's just an example to show you that you can use things in your fridge and your pantry to make something delicious.
So, Allison, I know I told you, you take things, you make it so simple, like just freaking put some lemon and lime in it, or honey or mint or cucumber. Does it taste as good, they want to know, without alcohol?
Sure. Absolutely. Everything that I just said can be done with club soda. And not only that, so you can take this ginger juice. You can take this triple citrus mixture right here. You can add fresh berries. If you take like a muddler or just mash them up in any way in your kitchen, muddle up some fresh blackberries.
Yeah.
If they're too tart and you want it a little sweeter, maple syrup pours nicely. A little maple syrup. Add a little mint to that and some seltzer, and you have a lovely blackberry mint mocktail, refresher, spritzer, call it what you want. And if you go to the stores now, there was an article about the thousands, the hundreds of bottles of different kombuchas and seltzers. And if you just go to Whole Foods, you see like so many berry seltzers and interesting carbonated drinks that are non-alcoholic. So you could start with that and then use that as your base and go from there.
I'm gonna probably connect with you later, because for me, I'm all about presentation. I really do love a great presentation, and I may have started drinking a little too much wine like a lot of other people over COVID, right? So instead I would put fancy club sodas and just put a lime or a mint in it in a wine glass, and it made me feel happy for fun teas. But I'm thinking I might want to step it up a little bit from just my lemon or lime or a mint leaf. But even that, in my wine glass, it just felt like happy.
Yeah.
That, I would go wine, wine, that, so I wasn't, it really did help.
Yeah.
So those are some great ideas. And that's what they're saying. This woman said, I like to put those kind of drinks in my wine glass so I don't feel like I'm missing out so much.
Yeah. Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So tell us, how did you come up with the idea, SAUTE and SOIRÉE? I mean, we know you like to cook and you like to entertain, but now, besides virtual, you do go to different events and do this. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay. thank you. So when I was in Miami, it was a passion project. It was, I love to cook, I love to entertain, and I thought, all right, let me see if I can turn this into a little business. I was a financial advisor still at the time. And so effectively a friend would say, would you like come to my house and do your thing? And in fact, what that really meant was that they would invite their book club or, 8 or 10 of their friends or 6 or 8 of their friends. I'd arrive at their house an hour early with food, with all the groceries, representing whatever it is that we decided that we would make together. And I usually defer to sort of tapas, Mediterranean small plates, nothing too, hyper exotic with cuisines from around the world. I like to make things that people they've seen, like things that are on menus all over the place, almost like farm to table California cuisine, if you will, just good, fresh ingredients. And so so the idea is that their friends come over knowing that they're going to participate in the making of the food, but it's not treated like a class. I don't give recipe cards. I don't do aprons. As you see, all I do is say, hey, we're going to make some food together. Everyone's going to enjoy this food together. It's going to come out of the oven at a different time, that it'll be ready off the stove. We're going to be grazing and sipping and chatting, but everyone is participating in the making of the food. So not only are they bonding, and having a break bread experience when they're eating, but they're also making it together. So they're participating in the making of the food. They're taking ownership in the process. So it's like a double bonding, if that makes sense.
Oh, it
so
does.
I did that.
I experienced it, and I was like, I made that. Okay, so I chopped a lot, but I felt like I made it and I helped,
You did, and that's exactly what I wanted. That's exactly, you're like, what else can I do? I was like, I love this lady. But so that's what we did. So that's what I did in person, and I did it a few times. And then, so fast forward all of these years, in October 2021, I was without work, and I saw that people were engaging virtually, and there were wine tastings and flower arrangings and painting and all kinds of things, ways for people in teams to engage. And so I thought, what I do, I can make this happen online as well. I do send grocery lists to people. I send like an Instacart shopping list to people, a tools list. And then at a certain time, we all Zoom in from our respective kitchens. We're all going to make the same thing, but everyone's own version of it. So, if we're making Mexican, like tostadas, of the layers of a couple different things, and you don't like guacamole, you don't need to do the guacamole. If someone doesn't want the shrimp, they don't need to add the shrimp. It's really not about the step-by-step of the making. It's about the conversation that's happening around the food. So when you say, I know there's like a Florida avocado and a Haas avocado, and then someone says something about the Florida avocado and they had one. I'm trying to open up conversation around food. Yeah. And it happened for years. It's happened to the beginning of time. People sit down and they talk. So I just like to say that I'm creating more opportunities for people to engage around food and drink.
Yeah. So Allison, the virtual, it's very enticing to me. Do the people get together in one room and then you're virtual, or are they just coming from wherever they are?
So both. So I did one this past Saturday. There were 6 people in a kitchen, and I was on their kitchen island zooming in, and I was sort of leading them step by step. I'd say, okay, we'll season the steak now. And, Nancy, if you're seasoning the steak, then, Missy, bring the shrimp next to the pan. You're going to, toss some paprika on that and get some oil hot in a pan. So I was leading them as a group together present as a group. But I also do it where every single person is in their respective kitchens around the country, like teams that are fully virtual, fully remote. How are they engaging? So you've got 2 people in California, 1 person in Toronto. As long as the time, the time aligns, then we all Zoom in together. Everyone's got their ingredients in front of them and their tools. I give a little icebreaker, and then I'm like, let's start. Let's have some fun. So it's 10 Hollywood Square 8 Hollywood squares, whatever. And then I just go step by step, and I make sure that that everyone finished the last step before we all move to the next step as a group. I don't want to lose anyone. You know, I don't want to, if someone doesn't really love to cook, but they're doing this anyway, I don't want them to be discouraged. Like, oh, everyone else can cook and I can't. I don't want that. We all move at the same pace. But during the process of telling everyone what to do next, I want the conversation. I want, you know, I want fun happening. So, yeah.
So to me, it seems like a fun thing to do with a corporate team that is remote. It's like a bonding thing to do.
That's my goal. That's my goal, to get people to know each other just a little bit more. You know, All
right, so hold on. I'm getting lots of questions.
Okay.
You can always reach out to her. So I'm going to get as many as I can, people.
Okay.
But all right, so here we go. Number one, Allison. Who plans the menu? Do they tell for the in-person ones? Is there a minimum amount of people? Well, let's answer the first one. Who plans the menu? Do they tell you what they want, or do you help them plan it?
What normally happens is they say, so how does the menu work? What should we make? And I'll say, is there anything that you particularly have in mind? And then usually I hear no. If the answer is yes, then I'll work with that yes. I try to keep the food as approachable and unfussy as possible. I don't want it to be gourmet. A lot of people don't like gourmet. That's not what I do. I want it to just be making good food together. So if they say, well, I have no idea, what should we make? I'll give them 4 ideas, 5 ideas,
Gotcha.
Whether that's a cocktail and a mocktail and 2 small plates like a crostini with little cheese and maybe roasted fruit, maybe maybe we'll do a salad with a homemade vinaigrette. Everyone has their ingredients pre-washed already in front of them, like they're ready to go. And we make a vinaigrette in a jar. We just shake up some ingredients in a jar. We take some fresh ingredients, and let's say we do chicken. We'll cook the chicken. So even pasta. I've made pasta with people because I know what can be made in a certain period of time, factoring in the conversation and the questions that happen throughout, because that's what I want. So that's how a menu that's how we arrive at a menu. I really sort of throw out ideas. And so far, everyone's like, that sounds great to me. And then we sort of go with,
And you purchase
second,
it, right? You purchase the food? You purchase it?
Everyone purchases their own food. If a company wanted to pay for everyone, the issue sometimes is that, let's say one person only buys organic, the other person is vegetarian. Everyone's bill is going to look a little bit different. Typically, it runs around the $25 area per person, because you can't buy half a container of mushrooms, or you can't buy, let's say it's tomatoes. We're not going to use all the tomatoes. So you're purchasing that. So it's usually $25 per person, and then a company can, of course, reimburse everyone with a Visa gift card. But so I send in advance a very detailed shopping list, so no one is cursing my name in aisle 9, as I like to say. Like, what the heck? I have no idea what this is. Very detailed shopping list by everyone is ready. I may give them a little advance prep the day before, like, hey, don't forget to wash your parsley. This is how you do it. Don't forget to preheat your oven. So that so it's very, I'm hyper organized, so I'm sort of leading everyone through little steps that they need to do in advance, but we're all pretty much ready for the same thing at the same time.
Yeah. Okay.
And so this second question, groups, I usually like to keep it under 12. Under 12.
Yeah, that's what they wanted to know. And they wanted to know, what's the least amount you come out for? What's the minimum?
There's no minimum. I don't charge per person because of the time involved. So the time involved for one is the same as the time involved for 10. So it really behooves someone to get a small group together. But really, I've had 5 and it's great. It just enables more conversation, the fewer people. So I don't do it over 12 because it's all about the conversation. And you're not going to get everyone talking if you have a large group.
So you like both of them, don't you? You like in-person and virtual equally.
I do. Nothing beats in person, you know, rubbing elbows with people and that whole experience, and everyone is in the kitchen together. But the virtual, if you don't have the option to get together in person, it is the next best thing, truly.
Yeah.
If you think about it, you and I right now are face to face. And if we're doing a virtual event, let's say we're 8 people, we are 8 people that are face to face at the same time. When can you experience that? You don't even experience that in person. So even though, yes, you know, it's you don't get the touchy-feely, you still are interacting. You're right there. You're interacting with many people at once. So the virtual works too. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, you make it fun, Allison. You make it fun for sure. I'm telling you.
Thank you.
I had so much fun chopping stuff, and I don't like to chop stuff. And it was fun. I had a great time scooping things out and whatever. I was so impressed. I was like, I have to have this woman, and I want to scream it from the rooftops. If you're looking for any type of activity in person or virtually, you got to go this way.
Thank you.
All right. So they want to know, Allison, how can they find you, reach you? Don't you have a blog, like these recipes? What do you got going on?
I don't have a blog. There's so many things to do. So as far as reaching me, of course, my email is Allison, Allison, at SAUTE and SOIRÉE, which is my website. So it's SAUTE and A-N-D. SOIREE.com. Allison at SAUTE and SOIRÉE.com. And my website is SAUTE and soiree.com. I don't yet have a place that has recipes. I use LinkedIn a lot. I use that as my billboard, my hub of marketing, because I am a solopreneur, and I've just found it with the combination of my network, which I'm grateful to say is big, and hopefully they're able to see the bits and pieces and tidbits and short videos that I put on LinkedIn. From time to time, I do a newsletter, and I share that on LinkedIn as well. So
yeah, I started with the blog thing too, and that faded. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm just gonna put my videos out there. It's a lot, especially when you're so, you know,
it's a lot. And now there's LinkedIn newsletters. I mean, the menu of options of you know, is endless. But you have to do what suits you in your time. You know, you have to do what feels right for you. So so LinkedIn.
Yeah, I love that you're doing that on LinkedIn. Yeah, you got to pick and choose, and you're good. You're good on video, man. You're great. By the way, love the shirt. It's perfect.
Thank
it's
you.
awesome.
Thank you.
All right, so. Hey, I got something to say, people. Here's the deal. If you miss some of it, don't worry. I'm going to push record when we're done. And then give me a few minutes, and I'm going to put it on every platform. So I'll put it on LinkedIn. I'll put it on Facebook. And I'll put it on Instagram. I'll put it on my website. And then I will also send links to Allison so she can send it around. And you know, Allison, I would really appreciate you sharing, sending it, linking it, rating it to as many people as possible, because it really does mean a lot. Doesn't it, Allison? It means a lot.
Yes, and I want to help you any way that I can. So you tell me how to help you, and I will do that for you.
This is for you, baby. This is all about you. And I just want to get in. We didn't get into some of your points, but you did mention at the beginning. And I think it's so important to say the one thing at the end. And I saved it. You are unique. Exclamation mark. There is only one you. Celebrate the uniqueness that is you. And I love that, love it, because so many times, especially this program was designed for women around the world, over 35, that they felt like they weren't being heard, or what do they really have to offer the world anymore? And you have so freaking much. And I love that you're telling women that.
It's true. It's so true. It's very true.
We got
Yeah.
to remind each other and lift each other
Yes.
up, don't we?
We do. We do. Absolutely. You do a great job.
All right. On that note, thank you so much.
Thank you,
I really
Sandy.
appreciate
Thank you.
it.
And thanks everyone who came and joined in. I'm so happy and grateful for the opportunity. And I'll do this with you anytime. And let's cook together.
Okay. I'm excited. All right. Until next time, you know what I'm going to say. Toodles.
Toodles. Bye, Sandy. Bye, everyone.
Bye, Allison.
Bye.